Okay, hey guys, I'm coming to you today because I want to share something with y'all. I've been reading this. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who subscribed to my channel and sending comments. I really appreciate it, and you. All right, and I just wanted to share this book with y'all today. Can you see the title right here? It's a very good read. It's a story in here I wanted to share with you today. Share with you today. Okay, it's classics for like young readers, and I like it because I'm young and I like to read, and I also like to share this with the children. And all right, but it was a story in here that I wanted to share with you, and it's called okay, it's called The Magic Prison. You can see, see. And the story kind of I kind of liked the story. I thought it was so good because it was about a prince. His name was Harweda. Harweda. I think that's his name in here. And I thought it was good because Prince Harweda was spoiled. His the king and the queen gave him everything they could buy and all the love that they had in him, and he became selfish after a while because he was always catered to, being a prince and receiving everything he wanted. And I thought, I thought to myself, well, that was good because a lot of us like to buy our children things and give them everything they want and just bombard them with a whole bunch of love and everything else, and that's fine. But what happened? Ooh, the kitty. But what happened is, she just scared me. She came out of nowhere, touching my arm. Like, but anyway, yeah, and what I wanted to say was, and he became real selfish, and the king and the queen was afraid that he wouldn't be a good king. Being that way because he was selfish, he was mean, and he wanted everything to himself. And so what they did was they went to his godmother, his fairy godmother, and said, we're worried about Harita, Prince Harita, because he's selfish and he's mean, and we don't know what to do, and we're afraid that he won't be a good king, over his people. So what they did was she said, well, let me go away. So, Fairy Godmother went away and thought about it for a while. And then she came back to the king and queen and said, I have an idea. But listen to this. I'm going to have to take him with me, and we're going to be gone for 30 days, about a month. And if he, after the month, if he doesn't change, we're just going to have to try something else and maybe leave for 2 months. And they say, okay, they agree. They agree with her and say, okay, sure. Um, we agree to that because, we don't know what to do now, and so they said, okay. So what they did, what she did was, she came back maybe a few weeks later and said, okay, I'm ready for Prince Harita. He can come with me. And he said goodbye to his parents, the king and the queen, and they went off to this place. Now, when they got there, it was this beautiful home, that she had made for him. And inside the home, it was like windows from the floor to the ceiling, and in between the windows there were mirrors, and they were all around the home. It's like the room where he was at. And so she said, yeah, I want you to stay here for 30 days and live. But also in the room, it was a bird in a cage sitting off to the side. And he singing a beautiful song, but he didn't, pay any attention to that. He just looked at all the things that was in the room because she gave him a lot of things, like a basket full of perfume, that all the nice smells that he loved. He had all like the grapes and peaches that he could eat, and every time the bowl was emptied, it replenished itself. like with magic, so all that he needed and wanted was there, beautiful robes and clothes and things like that. So he had everything he wanted, and all he did was the whole time he was there, he ate his fruits and his grapes and things and his sweet meats, and he just stared at the mirror and loved gazing at himself because he was a handsome prince. So he's walking around, he's eating, he's drinking. Then in the middle of the room, it was a beautiful water fountain that always flowed with fresh water. So Prince Orito was happy. He said, "Oh, thank you, fairy godmother. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I have all these mirrors," but he didn't even recognize the windows. He could just see the mirrors and all the sweet things and foods that was given to him. So as time went on, he's eating and eating and drinking, and he's not paying attention that the windows are actually getting narrow and narrow, and every the more he gazed into the mirror, he's and eating his food and this and that and just gazing into the mirror, the windows are getting smaller and smaller. And sooner or later he realized that he was in the dark. One day he woke up and he was in the complete dark. So he couldn't see himself in the mirror. The windows was all closed, and when he go reaching for food, all his food was ran out because the light that was replenishing the bowls were all gone. So all his food was gone. Then the water fountain had stopped, and it just had the water that was sitting in the basin. And so he was like, "Oh my goodness!" So he started cursing his fairy godmother, like, "Oh, how dare she does this to me? How she do this to me? Why would she do this to me? Oh my goodness!" He was saying, "Oh, I wish I would just die. I don't want to be here no more in this dark, all by myself and all lonely with no food. I'm gonna starve to death." And so he was there and he calling out and he tried to break free, but he couldn't because once he entered the home, the doors locked on him. So he's laying there and pitiful and crying and stuff and feeling bad. And he's like, "I'm all by myself and it's so dark and I'm in the darkness." And then lo and behold, he hears this little chirp. And so he's like, what is that? And he crawls over to, and he remembers the bird. And he crawls over to the bird and he hears the little chirp, chirp. And the bird by then is so weak and has like a barely a chirp in him. He said, "Oh, the poor little bird, I forgot that you were here. We are both here, trapped in the dark, and 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 oh, and I'm so hungry and just think you haven't eaten anything the whole time I've been here." And so he goes over and he says, "Are you thirsty, little bird?" And he goes get the little bird a little bit of water that's left in the basin, and he gives the bird something to drink. And and lo and behold, a little crack comes in to the window, opens a little, hears this big sound like whoosh, and a little crack, yes, opens the window just a little where it shines just a little bit of light through. And he was like, "Oh, wow, we got a little bit of light." He said, "I'm so hungry." He said he only had this old, worn out peach that was left inside the bowl. And he said, "Oh, and you haven't eaten either, have you, bird? I'm so hungry and I'm so, would you like to share this peach with me?" And he cuts the peach up and and gave some to the bird and he ate. And then the window made a big sound, rumble, and it cracked open just a little bit more where the sun can gaze through. And he said, "Wow, I never realized how beautiful light was with the sun gazing through." And he went to the window and he looked through the window and he seen all the beautiful trees and the skies and the clouds. He said, "I never realized how beautiful the trees and the clouds and the sky were. Just everything looked so beautiful." And, and I and I really appreciate this little bit of light that I'm getting so I can be able to see this beautiful bird." And he seen the bird all trapped inside the cage. He said, "I'm trapped too." He said, "But you don't have to be, bird." So what he did was he freed the bird from out the cage so the bird could fly around and see the little light that came up when he said, "See, look, we got a little bit of light." And he realized then that, "Oh, I I I I really appreciate you being here with me, bird, and I'm not alone." And then the window cracked open a little more to where he can really see outside the window, like at least about this much. And he said, "Look, bird, look." We can see, and then the bird started flying and hitting onto the little part of the window and banging and banging and banging. He said, "You want to leave? You want to go? You want to fly free?" He said, "I may not be able to be free." He said, "But I'm sure I can get you free." So he went and found something hard and picked it up and started banging as hard as he can to one of the little window panes in the window and banging and banging and banging, and then shattered the window so the bird could fly free. He said, "See, there you go. You're free now. You're free." And he was so happy that he was able to do that for the bird, that all the big sound rumbled and all the windows opened completely. And then the door unlocked and opened up. And then the fairy godmother came in and gave him a hug and said, "Yes, you can go home now to your mother." But he said, "I can." And he went home and he told his mother and his father and the king and queen what he went through, and realized that he's been a selfish person, and that the best way to be is giving and caring for others. I just thought that was a good story. And the prince became a great king, and he lived happily ever after. Yeah, I read this in this book, and it has a lot of great stories in this book, guys. And I'm thinking it would be perfect for, if you wanted to read to your children. And that's what I just wanted to share with y'all today, just the story that I read from this book, and it was very entertaining, and it was like a life lesson in it. Real inspiring. So if you enjoyed it, I enjoyed telling you. All right. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Love you.